Hello folks, my name is Colleen and I am here today to show you how I go through the process of canning dill pickles. And I do this from a recipe from my dear Aunt Joan. I looked it up in the book and she gave me the recipe in 1981, so that's how long I've been working with it. It's a pretty simple recipe, and I will gather up the ingredients and get started and explain the process to you. I will do my level best to show you everything that needs to be done to be successful in making dill pickles. I will be back in a moment. Now, these may not be the perfect tiny little dill pickles, but they will certainly do the job. We'll just have to quarter them up or make them smaller in the jars. But the first thing we have to do is to pick out really good cucumbers to start with. Ones like this that are yellow and not perfect, I would set aside, and one like this, you can see the damage that's been done on the side of this one. I would set that aside. You really want to start with the best quality fruit that or in this case vegetables that you can find. And this is them all washed up nice and fresh, and I will prepare to move on to the various steps that we need to do around the kitchen here, gathering things up. And this isn't the way I normally do a video, but I did this video with the TV playing in the background. So I am doing a voiceover in order to be able to prepare this video for you. One of the first things that I need to do is to peel the garlic, because my dill pickles always have garlic in the bottom. So generally speaking, I just give them a squash or a mash a bit, and then peel the cloves away, and then I work to take all the skins off of the cloves. I think that it really improves the dill pickles to have the garlic in the bottom of them, and most people really enjoy the garlic anyway. So I'm cutting away the bottom part of the root end of the clove of garlic and peeling it back, and I will continue to do that until I have all of the cloves finished and set to one side. All peeled and ready to go. The next step will be to prepare the jars. So I'm just going to work from the counter where I have the jars at the sink behind me, and I'm going to move the jars to the counter space in front of me. I hope that you can see this well enough. And I've brought 3 jars out because I think that's probably how many cucumbers that I have to put into the jars, but we'll see as we go along. I'm working with quart jars for this project, which is not something that I normally do. I'm more of a pint jar user. I'm going to add a good-sized head of dill. I like to have them fairly mature, not just with flowers on, but this is what I had from my garden, so this is what I'll be using for this project. And then I think maybe just a little bit more because I had extra, so why not? Dill pickles can't be too dilly in my opinion. Now I'm just going to cut off the ends of some of these bigger pickles, or these bigger cucumbers. I guess they're not pickles yet. And I'm going to cut them into wedges and ensure that I can get them into the jars, because if they're too long, they'll stick out past the 1-inch mark at the top of the jar. So I'm going to work to ensure that I have them the right length for the jars. I've prepared quite a few of the spears for the jars, and I'm going to apologize for my messy kitchen there in the background, but real life does happen behind the camera, and we work as quickly as we can to make sure that this vegetable, when it goes into the jars, is as fresh as it can be. So sometimes that means that the dishes pile up in the background while we work on the brine that's going to go over the pickles and get the water boiling for the jars, or get the canners set up if we're going to can them with the Nesco canner. And we don't want to pack these too tight because we do want the brine to settle down around the pickles, but we don't want to leave a lot of gaps either. So I'm just going to continue to fill the jars, and once we have the jars filled to where we want them to be, which I think that's plentiful right there, we're going to stop, and then we are going to move on to the next jar. I decided here at the last minute that maybe I'd surprise the people in my family and throw a few pieces of jalapeno in each jar as well. I left the seeds in, so goodness knows what this is going to turn out like. But I had the jalapenos sitting there on the counter, and I thought, why not? So I'm going to put it in one of the other jars as well, and just hope for the best. And in go the spears. Kind of looks like it's a bit haphazard, and some of these I may have to take out and cut off a little bit because we want to have all of the cucumber under the brine, and we're going to use the lowest ring on the jar, the neck of the jar, to count as our 1-inch measure. I'm also going to add some black peppercorns to each jar, and I like that little bit of heat that comes from the peppercorns, and I'm gonna finish stuffing this jar. That seems good right there, and then move on finally to the last one. As I said previously, this is probably not the size of cucumbers that I would normally pick, but it was coming to the end of the season, and I did want to get a few jars of pickles to add to the cupboard. So I did get the bigger pickle, or the bigger cucumbers, to do this job with. It's nice to have these if you're just going to have a sandwich and you just want a spear of dill pickle on the side of your plate to add a little tang to your lunch. And so I will just carry on, and I'll come back when we're ready for the next step. And I've moved you into position sort of here so that you can see what's going on, and I do hope that in the future I don't mess up a video like I did this one again, because I like to have more interaction with you than I'm having right now. But anyway, I'm going to stir this until it becomes clear, and that takes a few minutes. So I'm not going to make you sit through that. I've got my canner ready. I'm going to use this as a water bath canner at the moment. This is one of my old stovetop pressure canners, and I'm just going to use it as a water bath canner to do these dill pickles up. So I will bring you back when the next little bit of action takes place here. So here I have the 6 jars ready to go. 3 of the jars I put the jalapenos in, and the rest I did without. I have the garlic cloves packed into the bottom of the jars, as well as some dill weed, and then just spears of dill pickles. Now I haven't crammed them in there, but they are packed in there, I guess. In fact, as I go over this one, I realize it might be a little too tight. I don't want to pack them too tight into the jar. Leave enough space for the canning liquid to go all the way around. The canning liquid is 1.5 cups of water, half a cup of white canning vinegar, pickling vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of pickling salt per quart of pickles that you have prepared for canning. And then you put this liquid on the stove and you stir it while you bring it to a boil, and then you cover the pickles that are in the jars with the liquid. Into each one of these too, I also added, I don't always do this, but I did in this batch, I added some black peppercorns. And I did that with all of the jars, whether I put the jalapeños in or not. I did put that liquid in, or that black pepper in. This is a really simple recipe, and like I said, came from someone I loved a lot, and I kept it in my old ratty book. I'm sure I'm not the only one with an old ratty book. Actually, maybe I'll show you my old ratty book. I will finish this first, however. Maybe I will be brave enough to do this. I might be short some canning liquid, despite the fact that I measured very carefully. Nope. Look at that. Just as it was intended to be. Now, I want to make sure that all of these pickles are below the surface of the canning liquid, or the pickling liquid. I have my hot lids that I've just taken off the stove right here. I really do need to get me one of those little magnetic holders. Just going to wipe down these tops so that there's nothing getting between the top of the jar and the sealing ring. And it's also a good time to just check and make sure you have nothing stuck on. I thought I felt a little bump there, but I guess not. Or no check with your finger to ensure that there are no chips in the tops of the jars. Should do that before you actually start to fill the jar. Some of these jars and these rings, if the ring has had a really good seal on the jar and it's been on there for a long time, the little rubber bits, when you pull it off, will stay stuck to the rim of the jar. So you want to make sure that it's cleared from all obstructions, before you carry on with that. And we'll just get these all on. Of course, the cucumbers are cold. The liquid is hot. Now, my aunt's recipe said to put them in a boiling water bath and can them for 15 minutes, a full rolling boil. I myself have only ever left them in there for 10 minutes, and it's worked just fine. But that was what the recipe called for, that she shared with me so many years ago now. So there they all are. I'm just gonna pop them in the canner and get them going, and when they're finished I will come back and show you a picture of the final product. In the meantime, I hope that you've found this somewhat helpful and that you would consider doing this for yourself and your family. I hope that you stay well and that all is well in your families and your homes, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching. All the information that you need in the descriptions are in the description box below the video. So please have a look there if you have any questions whatsoever. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.